CytoSure Interpret Software can be configured to automatically classify detected CMVs based on criteria set by the user. This video will describe how to use this auto-classify feature, which can aid the interpretation process to provide a faster, more standardized workflow. To begin with, let's just review the process and understand some of the terms we are going to use. To enable automatic classification, users need to create a classifier set. Each classifier set is made up of multiple classifiers. Each classifier describes the criterion against which CMV will be tested. For example, does the CMV fall within an annotation in the copy number variation track? Each classifier is also assigned a classification type, such as benign or pathogenic. If the criterion of the classifier is satisfied, then the classification type is automatically applied to the CMV. Classifier sets are linked to an analysis protocol in order to standardized interpretation when the protocol is in use. A good starting point for this feature is the set of template classifiers provided by the software. These can be used as they stand or edited for creation of lab-specific classifier sets. Let's see how to add template classifiers to the software. Go to Tools, Options, and select the Classification tab. The top section on this page shows the existing classifications that are in the software. Users can create their own ones here if required. The second section gives options on how the classifications are handled during reporting. The third section controls how the classification is applied during the analysis. This is important, and we will come back to this later in the video. The final section is where the classifiers and classifier sets are created. Let's click on the Auto Classification Settings button, which opens up a new window. In version 4.9 onwards of the software, there will be a button in this window called Add Template. Click on this, which will add the template classifiers into a new classifier set called Template. If any annotation tracks required by the template have not been installed or are not named as expected, the template may fail to be added. A description of each classifier is given in the table, but you may need to expand the column to see the full text. Let's take a look at the details now. For the benign criteria, if all the following criteria are satisfied, the CMV will be assigned a benign classification. So the CMV is completely covered by benign CMVs from the ClinGen variation track. The CMV does not overlap with any of the contents of the syndrome track, and the CMV does not overlap with any similar pathogenic CMV from the ClinGen variation track. A pathogenic classification is assigned if the following combination of classifiers are satisfied. Less than 80% of the CMV is covered by benign CMVs from the ClinGen variation track, and at least one of the following criteria are satisfied. The CMV is larger than 1 megabase in size. The CMV overlaps with at least one region from the syndrome track. The CMV is completely covered by similar pathogenic CMVs from the ClinGen variation track. If neither the benign or the pathogenic criteria are satisfied, then the CMV will be assigned the uncertain significance classification. Back in the Auto Classification Settings window, select one of the classifiers in the list and then click on the Close button. Now we have created the classifier set, we need to set up the Auto Classify feature. Remember, this is part of an analysis protocol, so the protocol you start with should have all the other aberration detection settings as you want them to be. On the Classification tab, first we need to check the box Apply Classification on Detected Aberrations. These template classifiers are intended to be applied in order until one is satisfied and will result in the CMV being assigned a classification, with all subsequent classifiers being ignored. So we need to check this option. Users also have the option here to transfer the automatic classification across to the initial classification field used in the software. Finally, we need to select the classifier set that we created when we added the template classifiers. By default, this is called template, so we choose this from the drop-down list next to the current classifier set. If it does not appear in the drop-down list, just click on the auto classification settings and click on one of the classifiers again before closing the window. To save these changes, we need to create a new analysis protocol by going directly to the Protocols tab, entering a name for the protocol and clicking on the Create Protocol button. Now let's run an analysis to see how the auto classification is applied. When the analysis is complete, a prompt will appear describing how many aberrations in the data set have been assigned classifications. Click OK to continue. In the aberration table, you can see that the aberrations have been color-coded according to their classification, and if we click on a row to jump to the region, then the classification is also assigned in writing to the CMB. This text will only be displayed if it is an initial or a final classification. So in this analysis protocol, because we chose to transfer the auto classification to the initial classification, it is being displayed here. You can see the type of classification that is being applied by right-clicking on the column headers and selecting the classifications option you wish to see. That's all for this video, but please check out our website for further resources and support, or email support@ogt.com.